Hey everybody, it's Steve Cook. I just wanted to have a conversation with you about this word joy and this pursuit of joy and happiness that so many of us are after. One of the things that I came to realize was that I went into business for myself in hopes that life would be better. I was willing to take these risks and to lay it all out on the line for the good life. I wanted a better life. Quickly found out that after a while of being in business that wasn't really what was happening. My business was becoming very successful. I was starting to make a lot of money and having more money in my bank accounts than I ever had, a more beautiful house than I ever dreamed of living in. Could go on trips, I could do all different kinds of things, but there was something that was missing, and I want to share with you a quick story. I went to El Salvador on a missions trip. And on that trip, we're told to not have any expectations and to just go on the trip, be there, serve, and allow God to do whatever it is He's going to do in and through us. I did have an expectation, and the reality of the situation was I had this expectation that God was going to break my heart for the poverty of the people in El Salvador. You see, I went to serve in a town, the name of the town was called Las Delicias, and we were told that this was the poorest town in all of Central America. When I got there, they were clearly poor. The conditions that they lived in were just not acceptable by U.S. standards. We would never have allowed people to live that way. Kids would have been taken away from families, but this was a normal way of life in much of Central America, not only there in El Salvador. But my experience there, after 6 days, I'm getting ready to go home the following day, my heart was not breaking for the poverty of the people. And honestly, I went out one morning, got up early in the morning, and I sat there and just in prayer and saying, Lord, forgive me for my hard heart. My heart's not breaking for them. And you know, what is it? What's going on here? And then all of a sudden I looked up. And when I looked up, I saw something that I didn't have. I saw joy in the faces of the people. In spite of having nothing material, in spite of having material wealth of this world, they had joy. And this was something that I realized that this was not something I was used to seeing. And so when I got home, back to the United States, I started looking for this joy. And I have to tell you that when I got to church, I was able to see this joy, and I saw the joy in two different places. One of the places where I saw it was in the youth. The kids, the youth groups, they were just exuberant and they were filled with joy, they were loving life. And then the other place that I saw it was in the seniors. And I didn't see it in all of the seniors. I saw it in some of the seniors. But here's where I want to point out to you, this was sort of the bookends of life. I mean, there was on one side of life and on the other side of life, they were experiencing joy. But really, in the middle of these two bookends, there was no joy. I mean, as soon as people were graduating high school or college and they were getting into the real world, basically their pursuit of joy and happiness at that point was sucking all of the joy and happiness out of them. And I came to realize that what they were trying to do was create this lifestyle that would be filled with joy by filling it with things, by pursuing money, by pursuing houses, by getting in a nicer car and going on trips, all the things that I was doing. And if that were the case, I should have been the most joyous person in the entire world. But I was lacking in it. And you see, those things don't give us the joy that we're looking for. And so, you know, one of the things that I do within Life and Air is I have people contemplate or think back through their life. What are some of the things that you have experienced that bring you the absolute most joy? And I mean the kinds of things that when you talk about it today, it still wells up pride in your heart, maybe brings tears to your eyes because there's just so much joy in it. And, you know, I could sit here and tell you that the first time I did a real estate investing deal, it brought me a lot of joy. But, you know, it brought me joy in the moment, but that joy was temporary. That's not the kind of joy that I'm talking about. But there are things that I have been a part of, and I continue to be a part of today, but I'll tell you why I do. But there were things that I could tell you like, hey, the day that I gave my heart to Jesus and my life was completely turned around, brought me tremendous joy. But what's brought me even greater joy was being instrumental in other people's lives and helping them to also experience the same things and to just be able to sow into their lives and to share the truth with them, and then watching them open up to this kind of life of living with and for Jesus brings me tremendous joy. But why? When we can sit here and we can think about those things, why are these so few and far in between in our lives? And so what I came to realize was that if I wanted to live a life of joy, I had to continue to keep on doing those things that brought me joy. I couldn't just keep sharing the same story that took place 10 or 20 years ago, but I needed to create an environment or create a way of life that put me in the position to experience that joy on a more regular basis. And so I was very, very intentional about that and designing my life and coming up with a life vision. And more importantly, even my livelihood, my business was designed to be able to interact with people and to share Jesus and watch people to just flourish and grow. And that brings me great, great joy. And see, the joy that I experience is in relationships, and it's watching people grow. It's not in the stuff that I own. It's not in the cars that I drive. It's not in the houses that I own or the size of my bank account. I've had many, many, many different things, and none of those things bring me joy. In fact, I can say this, that there are many, many, many people out there who I have coached who have tons and tons of money, and they're miserable because they haven't figured out what life is really all about. And they think, and I was once there, they think that if they could just have a little more money that they will finally get there. And so going back to the bookends of life, kids, they're not concerned about those things. They experience joy. And then seniors, when you get up to the seniors, they have spent the last 30, 40, 50 years of their life figuring out that this whole pursuit of material things, this pursuit of stuff isn't what's getting it there. Money isn't there. They're searching. They get more money. That doesn't work. They get the big house. That doesn't work. They sit here and they do this. It took them decades to figure out that that's not what it's all about. And fortunately, a lot of them figure it out, and then they begin to live and experience a life of joy because they start investing into other people. It's now about relationships, whereas some of them still, even as seniors, are trying to figure out, when do I get to experience joy? I didn't make enough money. I didn't get a nice enough house. My retirement accounts aren't big enough, and they're never going to find it there. When I can go to one of the poorest cities in the entire world, and I can see joy in the faces of the people, I know at that point it has nothing to do with money and possessions, but it has everything to do with relationships. And that primary relationship is the one that we have with Jesus. I hope this helps. Have a blessed day.